大家好，我是西语的 West。之前呢，有给大家做了关于口语的流畅度发音的展示。今天呢，我们延续一下这个流畅度发音的一个展示。目标呢是看一下就是发音分数高是什么样的一个状态。然后呢，顺便也给大家就是把整个听力部分也做一下，因为口语的话是有对听力部分加分的。那我们就把口语部分做完过后呢，再做一下听力部分，看一下最后的分数是多少。好，那我们就直奔主题，我们就继续做上次有给大家做过的这个 Test B。好，开始。The course includes an intensive unit on climate change and requires all students to read a STEM review on economics of climate change, which was published last year. The course delves into the science behind the issue, the challenges it poses, and the business and the government, as well as a discussion on possible solutions. In the fast-changing world of modern healthcare, the job of doctor is more and more like a job of chief executive. The people who run hospitals and physician practices don't just need to know medicine. They must also be able to balance budgets, motivate large and diverse staff, and make difficult marketing and legal decisions. Environmental problems caused by hard-working mining involve water pollution by metals themselves, chemical used in processing, acid drainage, and sediment. Metals and metal-like elements in the ore are toxic and prone to cause trouble by ending up in the nearby streams and water tables as a result of mining operations. In recent years, there have been one or two significant happenings that have kept alive the hope that the deep sea may conceal strange links with the past. In December 1938, off the southeast tip of Africa, an amazing fish was caught alive, a fish that was supposed to have been dead for at least 60 million years. In multilingual countries, code mixing, the use of more than one variety in the same utterance and sentence, or code switching, the use of different languages or varieties between sentences, is common and natural. Despite its frequency, or perhaps because of it, some scholars and self-appointed guardians of linguistic morality view both code mixing and code switching as a sign of linguistic deficiency. In this landmark account, first published over 20 years ago, the author argues that the ignorance or lethargy of the poor are the direct result of whole situation economic, social, and political determination. By keeping in a situation in which critical awareness and responses are practically impossible, the disadvantages are kept submerged. Students must observe lab safety regulations at all times. It's the words of common occurrence that have different reservation value. The office said Dr. Smith will arrive later today. Student services will provide help with health and transport. A study scale seminar will require students who require assistance. Any text or reference you make should be cited appropriately in the footnotes. The research paper should begin with a thorough review of literature. The application of the study has not yet been fully explored. The inherent tension between two features remains to be addressed. Journalism is the publication, collection, and transmission of the news. The bar chart illustrates the largest cities worldwide in millions in 3 years. So in 1950, there are 3 cities. London has the lowest figure at 8 million, and New York had the highest figure, which is 21 million. And in 2000, Sao Paulo had the lowest figure, which is around 11 million, and Tokyo had the highest figure at 23 million. And for the year of 2015, Delhi had the lowest figure at 12 million, and Tokyo had the highest figure at 36 million. Actually, Tokyo had the highest figure at 36 million. So in the both year of 2000 and 2015, Tokyo had the highest figure, and in 1950, London had the lowest figure. The line graph illustrates the calories per day for 4 areas, which are North America, Europe and Central Asia, World, and Africa, from year 1975 to 1995. So for North America, it firstly increased from 3,000 to around 3,600 in 1995. So for Europe and Central Asia, it started around 3,200 in 1975, then a slight decrease a little bit, and then increased to around 3,400, actually 3,400 in 1990, then decreased to below 3,200 in 1995. For the world, it increased from 2,400 The pie chart illustrates figure 1, injury location, so there are several categories. For the home, the figure is highest at 41.4%, which is highest, and followed by leisure and sports at 17.1%, followed by school and childcare, which is 4.8%. The other had the lowest figure, which is 2%, and for the roads is 19.5%, the figure is the highest, and for work is 15.2%. And for the top 3 figures, which are the highest, are home, leisure sports, and roads. So home had the highest figure at 41.4%, and other had the lowest figure at 2%. The line graph illustrates population growth and projected population of Sydney from 1966 to 2031. And in the 1960 census, the figure was around 3,050,000, and then increased to around 4,128,570 in 2001 census. And for the 2031 projected figure, it will be around 5,300,000. So we can see an increasing trend from 1976 to around 2031. So the figure is around 5,300,000 in 2031 projected. So their graph is about This diagram uses 3 different buildings. For the building 101, Taipei, which is around 1,670 feet, is called Taipei 101, located in Taipei. For the second building, it's Petrus Tower 1 and 2, which is in Kuala Lumpur. and the figure was around 1,433 feet. And for the Sears Tower in Chicago, the figure is around 1,450 feet. So we can see that the height of the Taipei 101 is the top, and followed by Petrus Tower 1 and 2, and the Sears Tower had the lowest figure in height, which is around 1,450 feet, and it's in Chicago. This line graph illustrates manufacturing output in the UK from 1999 to 2007 in percentage. We can see from the graph that the figure started around 100 in 1999, then increased to the highest point at 104 in 2001. Actually, the highest figure was around 105 in 2001, then decreased to the lowest figure at around 95 in 2003 and 2002. And after that, the figure remained quite stable between 100 and 104 in the remaining years. So we can see from the graph that in 2001 the figure was the highest, which is around 105, and between 2002 and 2003 the figure is the lowest. This lecture talks about milk monastery in Austria. So the first point is about it's in a fair ground, and the second one is found in the countryside. For the others, is mainly found in town. And thirdly, it's about it owns a substantial amount of land. And the last one is located in Austria, which is the only country who granted the monastery. So this lecture talks about the milk monastery in Austria. So there are 4 points. Firstly, it's about the fair ground. The second one is found in the countryside, and the rest of them are made in town. And the third one is it owns substantial amount of land. And the last one is about it's granted, is in Austria, which is granted. This lecture talks about corruptions. It has an economical and social cost, and every year is around $1 trillion spent in the corruption, which is 10 times of the donors' money paid to the international development system. And this figure could be underestimated because it's elusive in the public sector. And also, corruption would sharpen the income inequality, and sometimes it would serve as a regressive tax in some countries. And it has more impact on the poor because the poor have to pay larger share of the income to have the access to the public services. So this lecture talks about the corruption. It's about economical, social, and cost. It's about $1 trillion. This lecture talks about Han Krebs at the peak of his career, and she published a paper about the sequence of chemical reactions, which we know as the Krebs cycle. And he is one example of how the determined scientist can overcome all kinds of human obstacles. And his father told him that he had a mediocre intelligence can never achieve something great. And his teacher told him the same thing, but not the same quote, and said that he had a mediocre ability can never be a great scientist. And we know that it's important for the parents to encourage your children. It's important for the parents to encourage children, but sometimes children will go on to do great things no matter what we say to them. Shiny. Slow down. Harmful. Optometrist. Your fridge. The secondary source. History. Laboratory. Psychology. telescope。OK，刚才口语的话大家看到了对吧？有些地方其实还是有些卡顿啊，我们到时候看一下分数，有一些吞音和卡顿，我们先暂停一下，之后再继续做听力。好，我们继续，然后呢就跳过所有作文部分，我们直接来到那个就是听力部分，然后呢把听力部分给大家就是过一下，看一下就是说怎么样去包括我们写法对吧？就是写法的话也给大家就是展示一下，然后呢希望大家就能够看出来整个过程是怎么样去操作的。这是阅读。好，应该到听力部分了。
The function of vitamin D is to maintain blood calcium. You probably think that the function of vitamin D is to maintain strong bones and teeth, but it does that by accident. Its real function is to maintain your blood calcium level in a very narrow range. And the reason for that is if your blood calcium level falls below about 9 milligrams per 100 milliliters, then you're going to get into big trouble and die rather quickly. And that's because blood calcium is important for muscle contraction and nerve transmission. And if you don't have enough of it, you can't contract muscles normally. There can't be normal nerve impulses, and this results in a disease called tetanus, where you get these uncontrolled convulsions followed by rapid death. Calcium is also important for enzyme activity and blood pressure.
The works of Shakespeare have been re-edited about once every 20 years since his own lifetime. That's partly just because as times change, the kind of information we need changes. So, for instance, a generation ago, readers could be expected to understand the allusions to classical mythology in Shakespeare. Now, most kids don't have classical training, so we need explanatory notes for that. So there's part of the process is simply just sort of polishing things up and keeping the grade up to date. I also was very keen to take this project on because there simply was no edition out there that I thought was satisfactory. Quite often, students or parents, prospective students would say to me, okay, which is the edition that you want to buy? And I really couldn't hand on my heart and say, this is a satisfactory edition. One reason for that is simply the sort of technical nearly all editions in double colour, which is very hard to read. And most editions don't actually have the explanatory notes on the page. So there were some practical things.
Some years ago, William Lombard, a young Danish statistician, published a book called The Skeptical Environmentalist. The seller had an unusual name and a lot of hate. Lombard was attacked, abused, and accused of all manner of things, not because he denied the fact of global warming, he affirmed it, but because on his analysis, the devil, and he says he believes this, was contained in the details presented concerning the size of the problem and what were the most responsible steps to take in response to global warming.
I think that's not going to be such a viable option for Cerberus, but that may be the way that they're going to approach it. Private equity, of course, is supposed to have the advantage of taking management out of the spotlight of quarterly profits and industry analysts and prying shareholder eyes, and that hypothetically gives them a chance to take slower, more patient routes to doing something to turn a company around. I would hope, and I have some, I guess, optimism that some of the Cerberus team will have some creativity and imagination.
There's another thing that's unique about positive psychology as a field of study. Again, it started in 1998. You see, until very recently, the realm of life flourishing, of enhancing the quality of our lives, has been dominated by pop psychology. Now you go to the bookstore.
The neurons in the brain cells, are like electrical cables, and they've got a layer of insulation like the rubber or plastic around electrical cables. It's a layer of fat called myelin that enables the nerves to transmit impulses.
One of the major lessons that we've learned
the places on the moon, you're
Winston Churchill is 65.
Say the word activist creates this little box in our mind. That's where we have to figure out
some people, this proposition may seem far-fetched, but ending poverty is both morally necessary and practically feasible. All of us must play a role. All human beings want and have a right to live in dignity, determine our own destinies, and to be respected by other people. Despite the universality of these rights, our capacities to fulfill them vary enormously, and no dividing line is more profound in influencing the quality of our lives than the gulf between poverty and prosperity.
In financial company interest, Heather said she decided to do this kind of significant. A gradual increase occurred between October and December.
OK， 好，这个听力就给大家做完了啊。大家主要是看到就是说我们那个 summer spoken 的写法，那个时间管理不是很好啊，因为这个笔记就有很多，所以说时间管理不是很好，也没有做到很好的检查。但是我一般建议大家就是说，检查就是说要快一些，还有写的要快一些，检查多一点。然后还有呢，大家可以看到就是我几乎是简单句写的，对吧？但有时候没办法得把一些东西删掉或者合并在一起。第二个的话 vitamin D 就是非常明显的是用简单句写的，所以大家可以看一下待会儿我们这个分数是多少。然后后面单选多选题的话就是凭印象和感觉选的了啊，然后大家可以注意一下。还有呢，另外 highlight word 这里看我鼠标永远是不会，对吧？一个一个跟，是看一个大概的位置。好，提交。然后呢，我们待会儿可以就是看一下这个分数啊，这个 just now 不可能马上出分，对吧？我们这个看一下时间，这个1点啊，然后呢，待会儿刷新一下，看一下这个分多少，然后我这会暂停一下。OK， 好，我们现在看一下这个结果是不是有出来啊？这个过了10分钟，我们来看一下这个结果。好，10分钟。好，我们看整体分数啊，现在可以看到了。因为呢做了2个部分啊，做了2个部分，所以说那个阅读的分数的话，听力那边有加分，所以阅读的话是达到了40分，但是阅读我们并没做，大家这个观众看到了。然后口语的话，这个发音啊，应该是一个录音设备的问题，因为这次录音的话要清晰一些当然下次可以跟大家做更高的分数的一个发音啊，这样的话就是一个70分的发音和90分的流畅度。其实大家可以看到，我整个流畅度的话，并不是你们想的，就是那样流畅。其实有些地方也有卡了，就是说电脑的话，其实在评价你的那个流畅度的时候，并不是你们想象的那样说完全只是一个整个速度的问题，它是主要在考察你的意群。 说通过这个测试的话，希望大家可以看到，对吧？我们在做题的一些技巧的一些展示。好，我们之后还会为大家做其他部分的一个，就是说讲解和示范。今天的话的这个视频分享的话就到这里。好，谢谢大家。